Hey guys, we are here today, bright and early on this Saturday, as you can tell, to try to get this Jetta running. I've already done a little bit of exploratory work, gone in there to try to figure out exactly what we need, and we've got a couple fun things to boot. First, we have a Tectonics Tunings 260 camshaft, which is the highest lift you can do on the standard springs, because we believe one of the lifters is gone, and we're gonna have to remove the camshaft anyway, so I figured while we're in there, might as well get a little bit of horsepower. But we went in, we looked at the lifters, we kind of listened to the sound. When I bought it, I knew it kind of had some issues with it. But I knew we could get it done. We can make it work. You'll kind of hear that sound. We believe it is the fourth lifter in that just looks a little bit funky, but I have all new lifters, all 8 that we're gonna be replacing because we're just gonna get in there and do it right the first time. And then after we get the car running right, we're putting on an ECS tuning Loof Technic intake because we've got an intake on this car already. I actually stumbled upon this kit that the previous owner put on, and it is a kit from eBay that you can get for $35. Now he loved it. Nothing against that at all. But I want this to be a show car. So I want this to look like a show car in the engine bay, which is why we've got these nice wrinkle red piping from ECS Tuning and their Loof Technic intake that is gonna put the filter a little further away from the engine, so it's hopefully pulling in a little bit more cool air than some of the hotter air that may be ambient just floating in this engine bay where the filter currently is. And that'll just start this process of making this Jetta a phenomenal looking wagon, and hopefully a phenomenal performing one too. With this camshaft and this intake, we'll have other power mods we need to do. We'll probably even go back in and replace this camshaft with Tectonic Tunings 276 camshaft and upgraded springs to really try to pull as much power out of this car as we can. I have seen between 150 and 159 wheel horsepower come out of these engines if you heavily mod the sucker. I don't think we're gonna go 100% on pulling every little bit that we can out of this engine, but I'd love to see 140, 150 wheel horsepower out of it before we do an engine swap. But that's getting way too ahead of myself. First, we gotta get this car running. So let's dive in. So like I said earlier, I have kind of already gone through a lot of this just to kind of take a peek at where we were. I did just want to go in and make sure we were dealing with the right issue here and fixing the right thing as opposed to fixing something that didn't need to be fixed. So this is what we're dealing with here. The single overhead cam, gotta love the 2-point slow. We believe, send this to some friends, that this fourth lifter is the issue. It's a little crooked right now. We got to rotate the engine just to look, but there's definitely some hardcore noise coming from in here that we're gonna have to rectify. We can go for the nice performance camshaft, all that fun stuff. Now, because I'm not replacing the timing belt, there is a nifty trick you can do to keep this in time that we're gonna try, so we'll show you that later. Let's rotate this and see what we're dealing with. These surfaces look pretty mid, if you ask me, which is part of the reason why I did want to replace the camshaft while we were in here taking it off anyway. So this little trick, valve cover goes back on. So we're lining up this with top dead center. Right here, there's a mark on one of these teeth that you're going to rotate the engine clockwise to get it lined up, and then you undo the tensioner, and then you keep tension on this belt as you pull it off, and you'll zip tie it somewhere up out of the way with tension on it to keep it in time, and you'll mark where the belt was on what tooth on the sprocket so that you can just put it all back together and the crank hasn't moved. Theoretically, keep the tension, keep the tension, keep the tension. What do we zip tie you to? Oh, the wind, this is fun. So the camshaft is out. Now I just gotta swap the sprocket over to the new Tectonics Tunings 260 cam power. The old camshaft is out, and this is the new Tectonics Tunings 260 cam with a higher lift and a longer duration, so it should give us some more power. Seen a lot of different numbers thrown out, probably 5 to 10 wheel horsepower, which that's like a 10% increase in this car because it's only 150 horsepower. And that was 24 years ago. But like I said before, I've had this cam in my car, my old Mark IV Jetta, and it did phenomenal. I really did feel a difference in that. I goofed it. So let's not goof it this time, and let's get this sprocket transferred over. I've got a new bolt, not taking any chances, but then we can go and tackle the lifters. So now that everything is transferred over onto the new camshaft, we can actually take a look at what the problem might have been, which we believe is the lifters. Now you can tell I've got it covered up just because while I was working on it, I wanted to keep it safe, but I have left the new lifters to soak in oil overnight. About 24 hours, I think happened I think 20 minutes ago. So that is perfect. So we should be able to get in here and kind of see what was going on and get some new lifters in. We're doing every single one just to be sure. So we've been cleaning as we went, but now that we're really getting into full-on reassembly, it's time to clean the valve cover gasket and this oil splash guard. I don't know why there's an oil splash guard inside the engine. Volkswagen knows, I don't, but we're gonna clean them both. So while we're installing new parts, I figured it'd be a good time to do an oil change with Valvoline Restore and Protect. We've also got K&N oil filter, just because I forgot to order one from ECS, and the parts stores had a very limited selection. And we've got an ECS tuning magnetic drain bolt, just in case if there are any metal shavings in there, they should catch them and get them out. Which if there are metal shavings, that's probably not good, but this motor's gonna get swapped anyway. I also want to take this time while the valve cover is off and we've got new parts to just run some other oil through it, just to kind of flush that out and oil every little bit of this new system with some good fresh oil. So we're gonna get this car up, we're gonna drain this new oil, flush it out with some other clean oil, and then fill it back up with Valvoline Restore and Protect. Well, that was much easier than the first time I ever did that install. That took me about a week and I still messed it up. So next, before we get this thing on the road, we've got to fix something else. Now I'm actually racing the sun right now. It's later in the day, so we've got to get moving on this, but we're fixing this hot air intake, essentially what it is. And we're gonna fix it with the ECS Tuning Loof Technic intake that is gonna put the air filter down in the bumper where it should be pulling much cooler air than the hot air in this engine bay where this filter currently sits. Now, I've already removed the battery, which is good because you do have to remove it for this install, and we need to get that replaced as well. It's a little swollen, but you've also got to remove a couple of other panels to get this filter in and get the tubing routed. Now, the sprinkle red should look fantastic in this engine bay as we're putting more and more red accents throughout this whole car. And yes, we're keeping it red. We just have to get it repainted and re-cleared. I've been undone. I don't have any strength left. I've been undone by this intake. We got a couple shots in. This little grommet is my downfall. I don't have the strength left in my hands or the dexterity to squeeze this grommet, it's out of focus probably, through a really small hole. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. We'll finish tomorrow. So it turns out I'm just a big dummy. Found where that grommet is actually supposed to go, and I was using my strength for nothing. So in ECS's write-up, I read the word grommet for that location, and I grabbed the wrong grommet. That grommet is actually supposed to go in this mounting point in the elbow tube that goes above, that mounts right there. So, yep, I just done goofed it. That went in. It was still difficult, but it actually went in. So now let's get this intake installed. This was the grommet I was supposed to be using. For some reason, I thought you had to put that little rubber piece to, I don't know, vibration dampen in that hole, but you just stick this in and screw it on. So let's get that in there. So the air filter actually goes up underneath the bumper behind this here fog cover. So, let's try to get it in. Really making use of that parking lot mechanic name now. And you can see the filter down there. That's pretty sweet. So one thing is that we're definitely gonna need to get a new fender liner because that's exposed right now. Probably should get that on order ASAP so we don't have too much rain kicking up in there because you don't want to suck in water in that intake. I think it also looks really good from the top. Got to put the battery tray back in. It's coming together. First startup. Let's see if we did it right. I'm actually now suddenly very nervous. Let's leave that open. I'm now suddenly very nervous. It's a little tappy. Was that too much tappy? So when you put a camshaft in this engine and lifters, there's a 20-minute break-in period that you should do when you first start the car up. Hold that at about 2,000 RPMs for 20 minutes. Thought the noise had already come back. What's going on? I cut it off pretty quick. But apparently that noise can stick for a bit until the lifters get lubrication. And then you'll get some lubrication on all these parts of the engine, especially with new oil. And unfortunately, about 18 minutes into this break-in period, the noise went away. But you're wondering, why did I just say unfortunately? Well, lifter noise went away. Obviously they got oiling, so there's no noise. I thought I'd fix the car. So 2 minutes left, whatever. Unfortunately, 60 seconds after the noise went away, it came back. And right after the noise came back, an oil pressure light came on. So there is something wrong with the oiling. After the little bit of research that I've done so far, it's leading me to believe that the pickup tube is clogged. So we're probably going to have to go in, drain the oil, use a thicker oil as well, just to make sure we are getting pressure. Unfortunately, Valvoline doesn't make Restore and Protect in 540, so we'll probably get some Liquimoly, I think, or something, maybe some lifter additive. Anyways, we'll get some stuff to try to get this going right. Really thought just the lifters and a fun performance camshaft would be enough, but doesn't seem like it. We've got a little bit more to do, so Unfortunately, that concludes episode 1 of getting this Jetta running. I didn't expect it to take this long, so it's going to be broken up into 2 parts, but we are making some progress, so I'm excited to see what else we can do. Hopefully we can get this running. If we just get the oiling system figured out, I'll probably end up getting a new oil pump as well, just to try to make sure everything in there is good. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry the Jetta doesn't run yet, but it will soon. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe. Have a great day. And remember, Jesus loves you. Bye.